All right, so I wanted to make this Sunday video because I need your help with something. I sincerely need your help with something. So if there are 300 people that see this video, I would love to see 300 comments because it would make a really big deal for me to know what to do next. You know, if I have 10 people commenting, that helps, but the more, the better for me to know what to do next. Right now you're looking at my live account dashboard with Topstep. I got 73 days complete, 81% winning days. Not bad, except for I'll have a whole bunch of $200 winning days, then I'll have a $1,000 losing day. So, or $2,000 losing day. That'll wipe out a bunch of those smaller winning days. So that I need to correct. And then this account will be doing much better. So let me ask you this question, and then I want to address a bunch of comments that I got, which I really appreciate those comments, and I do feel like they need to be addressed here rather than just kind of trying to write a paragraph in every one of those comments. So here's the question. And in the comments below, if you can put a Y or a yes, so this way you don't have to write out a whole bunch of stuff. I mean, you can if you want to, but just a simple Y or a simple yes, totally I'll get it, or a simple N or a no. When I'm making content for you and my trade videos, would you prefer that I only show you funded accounts, like my live account or an express funded account? Or would you prefer that I only put up those trades? If you would, put a yes or a Y in the comments. I ask that question because when I see other people like on Topstep TV trading in a combine, it's basically saying like, hey, I'm in a simulator, look at my simulator trades today. And then I was thinking to myself, does anybody want to see me trading in a combine? Because it's kind of like a simulator. I know there's a goal at the end, but not making money. Or do they want to see just my live account trades and my XFA trades where I'm actually making money that I get to take home, where it really matters and it really counts? So that's the question. And it would really help me out, because then going forward, if the majority of you say, yes, we prefer to only see live account trades and, you know, express funded account trades, then I'm going to focus on that for you all, which makes things a lot easier for me in a lot of ways, because I don't have to try to, you know, trade in the combine, trade in the live account, cut both of them together, make it make sense. You know, it's just a lot more work for me to do it that way. I don't mind doing it if that's what you all want to see, but I don't want to do it if you're not interested in it. So again, a Y or a yes if you only want to see my funded and live account trades, and an N if you prefer to see both my combines and my live account and funded account trades. So that would really help me out a lot. I would really appreciate it. There's 300 of you that watch this video. I would love to see 300 Ys or no's or whatever that might be in there. So I got quite a few comments on my last video that I'm giving up. So, and then it's time to throw in the towel. And I wanted to address a bunch of them or bring several of them to light. I can't do all of them, or this would be like a 45-minute to an hour-long video. But I just wanted to highlight a few of them that I think will also resonate with all of you who may not read the comments. I know when I watch a lot of trade videos, I never really read the comments. I may comment myself, but I don't really go through what everybody else has written. So I wanted to pull some of them out and talk about them here in this video. Okay, the first comment that I wanted to address here is consistently 982 writes, failure is failure if you fail to stand up and face the reality. The key words there is face the reality. And I think a lot of us don't want to do that, because sometimes that means we have to admit that we're not doing great at something, or we're not good at something, or what we're doing might be wrong for us, or whatever it might be. It's just there's negative things sometimes that we don't want to admit to. So we avoid facing the reality. And as a result, it's really hard for us to grow and become better. But once we can stand up and face that reality, we can recognize those things and become better. Another thing consistently 982 says is take the small base hits to build up your confidence. So true, because a lot of times, when I get into a trade, not a lot, but sometimes when I get into a trade, I find myself feeling afraid. And I'm afraid because I'm not confident. Even though on paper everything is good, I'm not confident. And that confidence could be for a couple reasons. I could have had a losing streak like I've just recently had. And then, next time I go into a trade, like I'm afraid to stay in the trade. I'm afraid to see it through because I'm not confident. And then I'm going to pull out of that trade early. And as a result, my winners are smaller than my losers. And then I blow up an account again because I was afraid. Whereas taking a bunch of small little hits, if you're trading, it's different for everybody. For some people, it might be $50 and other people might be okay with $500. We're going to talk about that on my next video. But if I'm trading like $50 a trade, it doesn't really matter. Like that's nothing. It's so easy to see a trade through because there's no real consequence. It doesn't feel like there's a consequence if that trade doesn't go my direction. Whereas if I'm risking $1,000, then I feel like there's massive consequences and there's a major lack in confidence. So base hits where it's small enough money to where it doesn't feel like there's a major consequence, then I can see the winners piling up, gain that confidence back, and then scale up. And that's part of my trader rehab plan. I went down a trader rehab in my live account, and it's exactly that. Going down, looking for $100, $200 hits, eventually $300 hits, and slowly scaling that back up to $500 and $1,000 trades. So that's pretty key right there, taking small base hits to build up confidence. Okay, so Josie ABC says, I blew up well over a dozen 50K evals before I passed my first one. That had to be very frustrating. Then Josie ABC says, I learned that risk management is key, and that's something I've seen you struggle with. I was doing the same approach of cutting my winners short to preserve profits. Yes, I do that a lot, and I shouldn't do that. But I was fine with seeing it hit my stop loss and taking the deal out. Yes. So that's so key too. Like how many of you are out there like that? Like that's a big kryptonite for me. I get into a trade accepting the loss. I accept it. So if I lose $1,000 in that trade, I was planning that when I got in. But I don't, but at the same time, I find myself accepting a $500 win, even though $1,000 was the plan, right? I risked 1,000 to make 1,000. Probabilities are in my favor that I'm going to get that 1,000, but for some reason I cut my trade off and I take that $500. I accept the loss, but I don't want to accept my profit, my full profit potential. And that goes back to consistently 982 is having that confidence and being able to have that confidence to just stay in the trade and see it through and building that confidence. And I think, one thing with my live account, again, going back to trader rehab, going down to those small trades when I'm shaking and my account's not doing well is a lot easier to risk a few $100s for me than it is to risk a few thousand in a young, small account. Now, if my account's had $100,000 in it, the $2,000 number is not going to bother me because percentage-wise of my account, it's so small. So that definitely plays a big factor. So when you cut your winners short and you let your losers run, it's definitely poor risk management. And as Josie ABC says, it catches up to you for sure. And it has caught up to me several times now. So another thing that Josie ABC points out is, I've changed basically my strategy and like everything. I got into my live account. I'm like, hey, let me try this new thing rather than sticking with that thing that got me there in the first place. And that strategy and those tools and all that stuff and just staying with that and making that money. And I need to definitely look at going back to that. And if I want to do the other thing, do it in the simulator where it's not going to cost me anything. Prove it 6 months or a year from now and then monkey with that with real money. But at least prove that out in the simulator first and stick to what I know so that I can make money. So MR Creative Capitalist asked if I was going to quit like 90% of traders because 90% of traders fail in the market. That's what they say anyway. And as I've told before in some of my videos, I entered a long time ago into a TD Ameritrade trading competition and I was a disaster. I did so bad and I still finished 2% of the pack. I finished in the top 2% and it was a disaster. So I don't know if that stat of 90% is correct. It might be more like 98% of traders fail, because I failed in that competition and I was still in the top 2%. So something to think about. That 90% might not be accurate. It might be way worse. But no, I'm quitting because I'm quitting what it is I've been doing. That's not working. I have to quit that. I have to do something different. I need to go back to what I used to do that was working. And I think it's okay to quit something if it's not working for you, so that you can reevaluate and come back. It's like it's okay to lose that battle and quit and run away and give up, if that means you're going to regroup so you can come back and win the war, right? So that's basically what I'm doing right now. So Life and Times RD687. Some of the comments in there are talking about drawdown. Drawdown is the biggest silent killer. But if you think having a bigger drawdown is the solution, you are mistaken. There's a lot to be said for that, because a bigger drawdown just means it might take longer to blow up your account, but you're still blowing up your account and you're paying a lot more money for that bigger drawdown. So there's no point in that if that's the case. But there are some areas where larger drawdown can be beneficial. And it's one thing, like I said, I'm going to talk about in my next video when I actually start placing my next trades again. And that's if I'm risking $100 a trade with, say, one contract, and my drawdown is $1,000, there's a psychological barrier there. Whereas if my drawdown was $3,000, I'm risking that same $100. There's a different psychological effect that has, because my risk is so small compared to my drawdown in my account. A $4,500 max loss risking $100 doesn't feel nearly as scary as a $2,000 max loss risking $100. So there is a psychological barrier. When I first went through my combine, the first time that I passed it and went to my XFA and was on my way to live, I got a lot of comments asking about, you don't need a $150K account. You're only trading one or two contracts, doing like $200 or $300 here and there. Why are you in a $150K account? And part of that's a psychological effect of only risking a small amount compared to the large amount I have. And in my normal trading life with my family accounts, it's like that. I only risk a very small percentage of my account, and the dollar amount goes up and down on each risk based on the percent of my account. So I never really feel like those accounts are ever really at risk at any one trade or any year of trading even. So, and it makes it a lot easier to mechanically trade in those accounts as a result. And going to the 50K, trading the NQ that's got big moves even with one contract, there's a lot there on the psychological game that I started to lose. So the other thing that Life and Times RD687 says is trading with small amount of micros, no more than 5, and having a ton of funded accounts is the only long-term solution if you want to remain in this prop firm space. So there's something to be said there in that sentence, that there's a lot more words that I'm hearing than are written here, and that there's different games to play in the prop firm space. Is it copy trading and just, taking big payouts, blowing up accounts, copy trading again, taking big payouts, blowing up accounts, and it doesn't matter. You're still making $100,000 a year, even though you blow up accounts every couple months. That could be a game to play there, and there might be something to be said for that. The other part of that is, if I had five combines, or not five combines, XFAs, I had 5 accounts and copy traded them, then mentally I'm seeing $100 on the screen. I risked $100. That's very easy for me to do mentally. Like, that doesn't bother me at all. But I also am making $500 a day with that. And that's the other side of it, which we'll get into more details in the psychology of trading, because it matters how much you risk can affect you psychologically, but also how much you're making can affect you psychologically. If it's too much or not enough, that can have a negative effect on you as well. And by copy trading accounts, it almost gives you the best of both worlds. It allows you to have a small amount of optical risk and a large payout optically, when in reality is if I have 5 accounts and I'm trading one contract, it's the same as having one account trading 5 contracts, right? I'm still risking the same amount of money. I'm making the same amount of money. But from a psychological standpoint, it's very different. And the first level, the first hurdle to get over in order to beat this game of trading is to beat the psychological game, the most important part. And maybe, just maybe, in the prop firm space, having 5 accounts is the right way to go and copy trade them and get the best of both worlds. Something to think about. So excellent comment there on Life and Times RD687. So Ryan Bryan 3 says, I'm having to do the exact same thing myself, and you're not alone. So this comment actually goes a long way. I'm hoping that in some way you get the same thing that I get from comments like what Ryan Bryan just said, because trading is a lonely game. It's a lonely business. You're by yourself. Maybe you're in a Discord. It's still really a lonely thing. And when you're having a bad day and just nothing's working for you, having a bad week, you're alone in that process. It's not like you're at work with a bunch of friends having a crappy week and you're all complaining about it together and you're kind of like in it together and you're getting out of it together. You're finding a better solution for next week and something to look forward to. And when I make these videos and share with you my bad days and you all have a bad day, I don't want you to have bad days. I want you all to have awesome days. I want none of you to have a bad day. I want every one of you to have just make a ton of money trading and everything is great. But when you do write stuff like that, I'm having to do the exact same thing myself. You're not alone. It does kind of make you feel better in a way as a trader. You're like, yeah, this is not that someone else is having a bad day, but that it reminds you that this is a normal part of the process. You're going to have bad days, bad weeks, and bad months. It's just a normal part of the process. And when you hear other people also going through the same struggles, it kind of reminds you that it's not just you, it's the game. And there's better days coming. And I don't know, when you're watching my videos, I'm having bad days. Hopefully you're getting the same thing from me. You can feel better, hey, there's at least one other person out there that's having the same thing. I'm hoping that that's what you get from my videos when I'm honest with you about and transparent with you about my good days and my bad days. And going along with that, Chris Bova 9686, says the same thing. It's been a tough couple of weeks, for me too. So, and sometimes you think, man, am I the only one just getting destroyed this week? Is this chop just destroying me? And again, it's like, oh, I'm not the only one. So this is a tough market right now. So maybe my failure right now, I don't even need to look at it. I can just say, you know what? It's been a tough week for everybody. Let's see what next week brings. Don't make any changes because next week you might be back on track and everything might be clicking again, So sometimes, hearing those things or seeing other traders having those same experiences sometimes helps me as well. Kind of don't knee-jerk reaction and change everything when it's working just because you had a bad day or because you had a bad week, right? And then you never make money again. You're like, I don't understand what happened. Well, you changed what was good because you had a bad day. What? So comments like that definitely resonate. Another thing that Chris Bova 9686 says is, I have many traits that are in the way of my success. And then the next thing that's written here is, I must control them. I have to keep the music on and the live trading off. So yes, I agree with that. Sometimes, I hate to admit it, but sometimes I'll be in a trade and I'm like, oh, I wonder what's going on at Topstep TV. And I'll put it on and I'm like, man, I'm short and they just went long. And then I start second guessing myself. And then I'm like, do I reverse my trade? Do I get out? What do I do? Should I, all the experts over there are saying that, they're so confident it's going up. And you start second guessing. And there's one time that I was like, man, they're all long right now. I should just reverse my trade. And then it was a big loss. And I'm like, man, why did I listen to those guys? And, they tell you all the time, don't copy them. And they're right about that. Everybody has to trade their own thing. So yes, music on, live trading off, agreed 100%. One thing I disagree though, Chris Bova 9686, that I would challenge you on to think about is, and everybody else listening to this, is you say, I have many traits that are in the way of my success. I must control them. So we hear a lot of times, I got to be disciplined. We should be disciplined with our trading and stuff like that. But should we really control them, and should we try to be disciplined? Is that really the problem? Because when we try to do that, at some point they're going to get out. We're not going to be able to control it that day, or discipline might slip, if we want to use that word in quotes, discipline. Or is there another angle to look at that and say, you know what? These are my traits, or I am not disciplined, or I have this thing, and just accept it. Don't try to change it. Just accept it. And then after you accept it, say, how can I trade accepting this? What strategy, what plan, what markets can I be in where I can just accept this? So for example, if I have a trait or a personality thing where every time the trade starts to go against me, I move my stop. I started the day out risking $500. Oh no, trade's going against me. I don't want to take a loss because I have a fear of loss. So I keep moving my stop, and now I lost $3,000 in a day. Now, if I find myself doing that a lot, I'm going to tell myself I need to be more disciplined. Or I might say I have this trait where I'm so afraid of losing that I end up doing this thing and I just can't seem to control it. I need to get a hold of it. Or I can say, you know what, this market's not for me. What if I traded options, specifically call options, not puts? Call options, buying options, where when I buy it, I accept the loss right up front, and that's it. I can't lose any more than that. I bought this option for $500. One of two things is going to happen. It's going to expire worthless, and I lose that $500, or I'm going to get into a position where I can sell it and make money. There is no moving the stops anymore. I've removed that from the game. I've accepted who I am. I put that in my trade plan, and then I found a way to trade the markets that fits me, who I am. Trade you, not them, kind of thing. So something to think about for those of you who are struggling out there with different personality traits, or the cliche words of you have to be more disciplined, you have to be more consistent, all those kind of things. What if you just embrace it? This is who I am. Now, how can I be me and still profit in the markets? There might be something there. So JC4U21 says, on shoulder tap, they always say, dance with the one who brought you. So yes, that's key. And part of me is like, when I went back into the combines, I did it because I wanted to go through the process with the combine and try something different. I didn't want to do that in my live account, although I still didn't really dance with the one who brought me with my live account. When I made it to the live account, I was doing it trading several tickers. And the reason why I was doing that was I was able to really pick and choose my trades and still put trades in every day. As part of my trade plan, I wanted to make trades every single day so I could put them out there for my channel. In my home account, I don't worry about that. I take the trades when they come. That means if I trade 3 times this week, I trade 3 times this week. I don't care. I'm making enough money in my trades. I don't need to trade every day. So it's a lot easier to pick and choose. But in order for my channel to work, I wanted to have trades every single day. So when I made it through there, I was able to look and see, oh, gold's hot today. NASDAQ looks like it's ranging. I'm not going to mess with it because everything I do is better in a trending market and not a ranging market. And then when I got into my live account, I decided to just focus on the YM rather than keeping my mind open to those other tickers and doing it that way. And then I decided I was going to save individual tickers for my combine and try something new going through. So I didn't want to try something new in my live account because dance with the one who brought you. But then at the same time, I didn't keep those other tickers. And I thought maybe I don't need to trade my live account every day. I could trade in my combine and that would kind of make up the difference. But at the same time, maybe my live account has suffered as a result of that. So it was a really good comment and something to think more about. All right, so BM7496 says something that's really key that I think could also benefit everybody watching my videos. It said, also try not to focus on, in quotes, needing to pass and just trade the charts. So there's, again, the psychological game is the hardest part of trading. And when you put self-imposed rules, deadlines, stuff like that on yourself, Sometimes it makes it hard. And I've 100% been focused on, I need to pass my combine, and I want to do it in 30 days, which is really 20 trading days. I put that on myself. And that's my focus now. When I'm trading, I'm thinking I need to pass this thing. So I start making decisions. I start forcing trades. I start overstaying my welcome. I cut my, I'm doing all the things I shouldn't be doing, right? Whereas if I just showed up to trade the charts, like, hey, I'm just going to show up to the market, take what the market gives me, do my thing, play the game, and not even think about passing. Let that be a side effect that just like shows up one day. There's a lot to be said about that, except for in the very end of it. Like if I'm $100 away from my account, it's not about, I should look at it not about passing. I should just look at it as, I just want to make $100 today. This way I don't overstay my welcome in the market and not pass when I could have passed. But yeah, definitely going to take that one into account and try to change that mindset of not focusing on needing to pass. So the other thing that BM7496 says is maybe size down to micros and don't rush the combine. So definitely I'm going to take that advice of not rushing the combine, and then sizing down the micros. That's going to be more in my first video back trading, talking about the psychology of trading and what that does to me. So in some cases I can do that, and I've been doing that with my live account in the YM, going to the micros, no problem. And then finding a balance back and forth between the minis and the micros depending on the risk. And in other aspects, psychologically, it doesn't work for me. So I have to find that balance and better sort that out, which we'll talk about in that video. And then the last comment that I'm going to talk about here is the one-stop trader. Gives me a nice comment, and at the end of it says, God bless. And I think that's nice. I think a lot of people don't talk about God anymore. And I think God is missing from a lot of things. Some of you may not believe in God. And God is God. You got different gods that you believe in. To me, they're all the same. In the end, all the different religions who believe in God, I think we all are talking to the same person and calling them a different name, potentially. But definitely God works in my life every single day. And sometimes I don't like what I'm getting, but that's what's right for me. God, I want this. Like I see it in my kid every day. Like, Dad, I want this. No, you can't have that today because I know what's good for you, kind of thing. And I feel like that happens with us and God sometimes when we're asking for things like, no, you're not ready for that yet. First, you got to go learn this thing. I'm going to teach you this lesson first, and then I'll give it to you. But yeah, like Garth Brooks says in his song, Unanswered Prayers, so true sometimes. So yes, God works in my life every day, and I'm very blessed. And just again, thank you to all of you for commenting on my videos, liking them, and stuff like that, helping my channel grow. I really appreciate it. And I do read all your comments. They do mean a lot to me. I do take them to heart. I do think about the stuff that you say, and they do help me grow. And again, if you can write in there, yes, if you want to see if you only want to see my funded account trades, and no or N if you want to see both my funded account and my combines. All right, everybody, have a great weekend. We'll see you on Monday.